our next panel is automation tools for social selling. Actually, we have all 3 speakers here, and this is Alex Boyd, Daria Irina, and Konstantin Artemyev. All of you are representatives of some automation tools, and it would be very interesting and insightful to look and to hear your perspective on that. So just let me go to different view, because this one. So our first speaker will be Alex. Alex, could you please start? And then for 15 minutes, then Daria and Konstantin, and then we'll discuss this topic of automation tools for social selling. So could you please start? Thank you.
Yeah. So hey everyone, Alex. By way of background, I have been doing social selling for maybe 6.5 years or so. I started talking on LinkedIn because I had a sales leader job and wanted to kind of test my thoughts in the public sphere. And I started posting, I started engaging and commenting, and years went by and I had millions of dollars in revenue to show for it. And at the same time, I was spending a good amount of time doing certain things on LinkedIn. I helped co-found and then sell a LinkedIn automation tool product a long time ago. And in the years since, thought about, okay, what am I still doing as far as the daily workflow of going out and looking for people's posts to comment on, figuring out who to engage with, what types of accounts should I be following? Should I have a spreadsheet or a bookmarks bar of people whose content I want to be part of and be on their feed? And so we co-founded Aware in that environment where I thought, I think the days of just blasting people, very Danny DeVito style. So I showed up and started blasting, of going on LinkedIn and just like ripping a big campaign and just seeing what happens. I think those days are coming to an end, because it used to be where that was more new. And before that got super popular, you could come up with really clever copy, build a really good list and just kind of send it out. And now people's mental spam filters are so high that they don't really accept that type of outreach anymore, and they see through it, I think. So when you're using like a true automated interaction product, you have to be really careful about what you're using it for, and taking your core messaging and just shoving it into people's inboxes on a mass basis is just getting you marked as spam. And we used to be able to say, okay, well, there is no concept of deliverability on LinkedIn, so it doesn't really matter. But there is now, isn't there? Because you can get moved to the other inbox. You can get, I don't know this person with that button. You can get reported. There's a bunch of ways you can get kind of shadow banned, actually banned, or suspended for using automation in the wrong way. So I think the main thing that I want people to take away from this is you have to be really careful about what parts of the process you want to automate. If you want to just hit a button that's going to bring leads to your doorstep, then you're in for a real bad time. And that might happen, but you're going to have a lot of other bad downstream impacts as well. So what did we choose to automate when we built Aware? Well, not the actual writing of comments. We don't want you to be having some sort of GPT algorithm be your personality for you, because that's not actually going to help. I think everyone who posts on LinkedIn knows when they see a robot generated comment, we all know what it sounds like, right? Like we have thoughtfully written post, and at the bottom, there's a comment that sentence 1, generic reaction. Sentence 2 sums up the post. Sentence 3, some sort of other little question, and then an emoji, and an emoji before it too. And you're like, I see what you're doing. You just hit the generate comment for me button, and then you left that comment. And so I think that's actually worse than doing nothing at all, because it's kind of like the phrase, better to be silent and be thought a fool than to write one's comment and remove all doubt. And that's what people who are taking automation to that level are doing, I think. So we have to take automation, I think, out of the generation of your message, and not try to have AI and tools just do your actual core value proposition delivery for you. Instead, an area I thought was ripe for automation was the actual act of figuring out whose post am I going to comment on. So Aware helps people generate curated and custom feeds. For example, I want a feed that's only posts about social selling. Much easier to kind of develop a feed that I can go through and engage with all those posts right there versus hunting and scrolling and clicking around through my feed and my native LinkedIn feed and trying to figure that out. Same thing if I have a list of people who I want to make sure I engage with. It's going to be a lot harder for me to find them and engage with them if I have to hunt around or have a spreadsheet and I'm just, again, clicking and scrolling. And every time I hear clicking and scrolling in spreadsheets, I think SaaS. So that's kind of why we built Aware, is help people build these feeds, help them engage with the right people in less time, but we're not writing their comments for them. We could. Technically, that's not very hard to do, but having generated over, I think it's around 5.1 million of LinkedIn sourced revenue for my various companies from this, I can tell you that that's a bad idea. So we could do it, but we don't want to do it because that's going to not help our users actually do better at social selling. And at the end of the day, the purpose of social selling is to build relationships, generate leads that convert to a real pipeline and a good deal size. And your auto-generated comment is going to bring you few leads and a low deal size and a long sales cycle if it does convert to any quote unquote pipeline. So resistant to that type of automation. The next thing is just performance tracking. Like a lot of people still use the better LinkedIn analytics features, which is good. They've gotten a lot better at giving you the right analytics of how your posts and your activity are doing, but they still don't show you outbound metrics. There's no dashboard showing you how many comments you've left, how many people you've messaged, and you can't really track that. You can't sync this activity to Salesforce, which is super annoying. If you're a rep who's generating business from LinkedIn, you can't get all of that stuff that you're doing cleanly into Salesforce very easily. And there's some tools where you have to like click a button to sync it all to Salesforce, but that's another step. So my like head of sales brain kicks in, like it's got to be in CRM or it doesn't exist. And so there's a lot of people that are coming to us now and saying, I'm generating a bunch of business from LinkedIn, but I wasn't able to prove that I was until I hooked up the Aware Salesforce integration. And now all of my comments, my DMs, my connections with people in CRM only are showing up in CRM. So I can actually show, hey, here's the actions I took before this meeting was set. And so they can kind of get attribution on social selling behavior. So we're continuing to build more, but my take is very much like we got to think about what parts of the process are not just can be automated, but should be automated. And I think there's a lot of people who want a quick way out, and automation should not be the thing that gives you that. It should be a thing that helps you do more of your best work by taking away the parts of job and role that are more monotonous, not the parts that are your primary responsibility. And if you are social selling, then the word sales is in that title, and that means you should be listening to prospects, developing solutions, customizing a value proposition, tailoring a message to them. It does not just mean hit a button and distribute ads. That's called programmatic advertising. That's just a very different job. So if you want a job where you hit a button and automate message delivery, go learn to be a programmatic advertiser and run ads. Perfectly fine career, but that's not what social selling is. So that's the story behind why we built Aware, why I use it every day, and why engagement, I think, is the next place where people need to be focusing on, rather than just, again, the kind of mass blast, hit button, spray message out. That wasn't quite 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe 10.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's very insightful, and yeah, it's true. Don't turn off your brain while using automation, right? So thank you, Alex. Maybe Daria, you will continue.
Yes, sure. Let me upload. I prepared some slides, so let's see if I can quickly open them, because it will help me follow my presentation. Okay, so where is it? This one. I think my presentation will be very much in line with what Alex has said, because I couldn't agree more about certain points. So I represent Linkit Helper, one of the automation tools that appeared quite early when this market was very young. And since then, 7 years from that point, and we are in a totally different, I would say, landscape of LinkedIn automation. Is the sound okay, by the way? Can you hear me? Maybe I'm just talking. Okay, great. So today I would like to talk to you about LinkedIn as a channel for business, for finding clients, for lead generation, and how this landscape has changed and how we need to adapt to these changes. The audience is quite prepared. So you know what LinkedIn automation is. It was initially created to get rid of mundane and repetitive tasks on LinkedIn. When you were looking for leads, you do the same things time and again. You search for keywords. If you want to sell, I don't know, recruitment services to software companies, then you would find relevant profiles, view them, click connect button, type a short note, send, and repeat for the next profiles again and again. Today, 7 years after creating first automation tools, we have some industry standard, and a lot of things are expected of an automation tool. If you look at the average automation tool, it allows for drip campaigns. So we should be able to select certain actions, link them into campaign, one after another, insert delays if we need, for example, to make a delay before the next follow-up message. Next, it must allow for using text variables. Initially, it was enough just to use the first name and refer to a mutual connection you share. And most people were accepting enthusiastically your connection requests, responding, yes, of course, great to be in your network. Now it has changed a little. Smart limits. Most tools will stop campaigns if you are overdoing the daily limit for activity. And of course, excluding profiles. If you don't want to connect with certain leads because for whatever reason, you should be able to exclude them. That's a general idea how most automation tools work. Of course, a lot of them allow for exporting data, finding emails, and a lot of other things, but that's a very average profile of any automation tools. And just like Alex said, today we are facing two main challenges. LinkedIn could not leave it as it was when it started to notice people were heavily using automation tools. So of course they started to fight with such kind of tools. And on the other hand, we have dropping acceptance rate because people naturally grew a little tired from receiving salesy messages. That's obvious. And we, just like Odyssey, have to navigate between these main challenges. And if you enter keywords LinkedIn spam in the LinkedIn search itself, you will find quite a number of posts where people are amazed what happened to their inbox. Why am I getting so many messages, so many people trying to connect with me? Because LinkedIn automation did not appear yesterday, and it's a bit overused. And on the other hand, LinkedIn is always rising the limits. That's one of their favorite means to fight with automation tools. Just a couple of examples how things changed. If for the last years it was possible to send 800 messages monthly to LinkedIn group members, you were not directly connected to them, you were part of the same group, you could be writing a message. But today it's only 15 messages per month, which is nothing. So this channel is next to being dead. Invitations, same story. I remember times when our first clients were sending thousands, literally invitations every week, and they were growing network like it was too fast. Today, LinkedIn imposed limits. These limits vary depending on how powerful your profile is, but It's a fact you have to face. You cannot send more than a certain number of invitations weekly. And that, of course, means that you cannot waste your connection requests on irrelevant profiles. One customer told me that he was targeting Irish banks, and he said there are so few banks in Ireland. If I make a mistake and screw up my outreach, I'm losing quite big market. So you really have to be careful here. I agree absolutely with what Alex said. So how can we deal with these challenges? What are the ways to adapt to these changes? First of all, I would suggest to A/B test your message templates. Still, LinkedIn is a good place to find leads. It's a professional network. I would like to share with you an experiment where we split our initial target into 2 sub-campaigns. In one campaign, we had a connection request message, very short note saying why we want to connect, referring to mutual connection. In the other campaign, same target, we just had our LinkedIn Helper tool blindly send a message without any connection message. We were expecting that the campaign with a message would bring better results, but in fact, when you don't include any connection node, the acceptance rates were higher. I think largely this is due to the fact that people don't expect that you will be selling something to them. And for us, it worked. But again, some audiences may still prefer to receive a note. But this test was confirmed from customer feedback many times. I heard opinions that customers just connect with people without a message and it works best for them. So I would suggest that splitting your campaigns and testing your approaches on small numbers can help you timely adjust your strategy. The other experiment we ran was connecting with preliminary warm-up steps and without them. So in one campaign, we preceded our connection request with an action automatic where we liked a recent post on their page. Then we had a 1-day delay. We followed their pages, and then we sent on day 4, I guess we sent a connection request. And in the other campaign, we just bluntly connected with people without any warm-up. Well, in most cases, the warming up activity works for us. Maybe because LinkedIn sends notifications when you comment on someone's post, or your face looks familiar, and people are more likely to accept. Once you are connected, I would say that you shouldn't be dragging this process any longer, just go straight to the point. But prior to connecting, some warming up does work. At least our practice shows that this is true. Next, it takes us to the importance of filtering your lead lists. The initial filtering can be done on LinkedIn itself. So if you have Sales Navigator subscription, it's costly, but it has a lot of filters. You can target your audience, applying company size, years in the role, industries, keywords. But then if you look at the search results, you will find that LinkedIn still returns some portion of irrelevant leads. If the person used to work for business development and then they realize they are now a yoga teacher, they will still come up in search, but that's not your target now. So after LinkedIn has given you search results, you download or export leads and you apply some extra filtering. And reality is that these days you have to invest more time into cleaning your lists, exactly because you cannot rely on spray and pray, just blast your connection request across all LinkedIn. Whoever reacts, okay, it's nice. It doesn't work like this anymore. Plus, some profiles include emojis and special symbols in front of their names. So if you start your automation messages, most automation tools might make a mistake by, instead of name, they will put an emoji symbol. LinkedIn Helper, at our company, we clean such symbols from names, converting them to normal names suitable for outreach. And in very few tools, you can actually click on the name and change it or edit yourself. So again, if you do automation, be careful with selecting the tool. It really needs to allow you proper filtering after collecting. So just as I said, quick summary: search precisely on LinkedIn, export profiles, review summaries, headlines, make sure you're targeting the right people. Use Boolean searches, the words or, not, to precise it when on LinkedIn. Sales Navigator gives you spotlights to just to find people who posted in the last 30 days, for example. I've seen the approach that some automation tools suggest that you remove profiles who have less than 500 followers. Probably because followers usually equal your network, and they think if it's too small, might be not a very fit profile, but that depends. I've never done it, but sometimes I remove profiles without avatars. Again, it's not to say that they're fake or something, but just to make your targeting a little more precise, maybe you want to contact people with wider network. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, maybe after we have a Q&A. Boost post. So here I would like to talk about content. It has been said a lot of times that content is king, because when you send connection requests, think how people will treat them. They will open your profile and try to understand who are you, what do you do, why are you connecting with them. If your page is empty, that doesn't build trust. So I've seen such pages for many profiles. They post nothing or very little. So try to fill your page with the content. And since you're doing so, why not invite people to the discussion under this post? We recently released a very exclusive feature, Boost Post. It allows to tag profiles automatically, the ones you select. And with a custom short comment, it's optional, you can invite them to share their thoughts, to engage in discussions. This will promote your page. And because comments and discussions were not affected by LinkedIn automation yet, people are more friendly to engage. I think it's about vanity a little also, especially if you invite experts to share their opinion. And it can be a nice precursor to inviting people. So you've had some discussions. It's a nice warming up steps before you send a connection request and are more likely to have new connections. I think last thing for today, I'm already nearing the end of it, custom variables. Like I said in the beginning, most tools allow some standard variables. You can refer to mutual connections you share. Custom variables is any stretch of text you can turn into a line in your message. But here you need to do your homework. This approach was first used by one of our early users. He was a very experienced salesperson, and he used this approach. We even have an article in our blog. He shares how he did it. The technique is simple. You do research, you find news or facts about your leads, then you create it as a custom field in your file where you have profiles exported. And then you upload and integrate this into the message templates. For example, you are reaching out to someone who works at Figma, and you find news that they are being acquired by Adobe, a very large deal. You can refer to that, congratulate the guys that they have become such a strong competitor that even Adobe wants to buy them. You can do this for every profile you're trying to connect with, and this will result in deeply personalized messages. Well, that's a screenshot from how the message looks in our applications. I'm using the CS use line, and each contact receives what was interesting to me about them. in fact, this is not even automation. We are only automating the process of sending messages, but you have to do your homework and you have to go a little far and show them that you know who you are connecting with. You've done your homework, you know profiles, you listen to their needs. This approach turned out very effective, and it always does, but it requires time. As for ChatGPT, very briefly, I wanted to mention this technology. It was very promising and remains promising. When it was released November last year, we looked at it, of course, and we started to think, how do we integrate this into our tool? We initially thought about including this into commenting posts. So should we ask ChatGPT to generate a comment? But Alex was right about this. I even saw complaints on LinkedIn that spammers used to be creative and now they are all using ChatGPT, so all their pitches look the same. Here you have to be careful. Here's a small test I did. I was opening 30 profiles and I had ChatGPT generate a custom comment. And then I gave a mark how it coped with the task. So someone was posting about seeking a new job. Yes, ChatGPT was so enthusiastic, admiring the approach to seek a new job. But to me, this comment sounds artificial because everybody does that on LinkedIn. We announce our promotions or career changes. What is there to admire? I mean, I wouldn't write this myself if I were a human commenting on this post. Unless you have something to help or to share, repost it on your page, I would choose a different sentence. So I gave 5. Surprisingly, ChatGPT was sometimes posting very reasonable comments. I saw a post about negative effects of micromanagement for performance, and I liked how he summarized it. So it sounds good, something I would have written myself. There's another issue. Some people post on LinkedIn not regularly, and if you see a 1-year-old post about promotion to senior manager, and then 1 year passes and ChatGPT posts an automatic comment congratulating them on that, that betrays the use of automation. So I agree here that ChatGPT is a little overhyped. It can help you to create variations of your pitch, but I think we are still far from integrating it, or at least it needs to be done with caution, maybe using several prompts until we get that very comment you should be posting. Or rather, just use it for your own research to craft your messages better, but in combination with an automation tool, it might ruin whole of your outreach. That's, I think, what I wanted to show you today. Yeah, I just noticed that ChatGPT is using emoji heavily, the special signs, and it always sounds so friendly. It can help a little in fostering friendliness, but for the rest, I wouldn't rely on ChatGPT solely to do automation for me, honestly. I think that's it from me for today.
Thank you, Daria. And yeah, ChatGPT is your tool, not like something what you should completely rely on. Yeah, thank you so much. And Konstantin, would you like to continue?
Yes, for sure. I'm sorry, I have some a bit of sore throat, but I hope that won't affect. So, Jared, was a great point about that ChatGPT, if used wrongly, it will ruin everything. Yes, it will ruin your outreach campaign. But what we experienced quite an opposite. We found ChatGPT to be a great outreach companion if we make a bit more deeper, like scripts of using it inside outreach process. And this is one of the things I want to talk of. I would switch on my slides now. One moment, please. Okay. I hope you see it. Yes. So I'm going to talk about robots. software robots and how they combined with ChatGPT can boost both lead gen and social selling and a lot of other sale-related processes. I will start from a short video, and what you see here, you see, well, Sales Navigator. Everybody knows how it looks like. You see that some actions happen. Somebody clicks on buttons, somebody enters texts, but this somebody is not human. Yes, it's robot. It's Sherpa RPA bot who does everything like this. Now you see Excel spreadsheet. It's a robot who opened it, who read the contents, and so on. So that's a part of outreach process. And what's special about this type of automation that it is not about LinkedIn at all. It's about any website and any desktop software. So there are narrow robotic tools like the tool that Daria presented as LinkedIn Helper, which is created specifically for LinkedIn automation. And you use scenarios that the developers of this tool put inside the tool. Yes, you can switch between different modes, but you can't change the whole process, how the robot would behave in solving this task. But there is another class of tools called RPA, Robotic Process Automation. These tools appeared at about 10 years ago, yes, maybe. There are more than 50 vendors of these tools right now, so it's quite an established niche, yes, software niche. They are not specifically about automating outreach or automating sales at all, because what they started from automating accounting in banks, but then the areas of interest and areas of application of these tools, they switched to a wider range, to sales, to customer care, to procurement, to audit, and a lot of others. So basically, they can do everything humans do in front of their computers with their mouse and keyboard in their regular office tasks. So let's switch further. That was state of art, say 2 years ago, 5 years ago, but then ChatGPT appeared. And suddenly we understood that ChatGPT plus robots can do much more than ChatGPT alone, because when you use ChatGPT, you are like farmer who does everything by hand. You should guess prompt for each of your tasks. You should enter this prompt into the ChatGPT window, press enter, then you should copy the results of this prompt. You should paste it somewhere to LinkedIn or to Facebook or to your email tool, and then you return to ChatGPT, enter some other prompt, and repeat the whole process. Yes, but if we make a robot use ChatGPT on your behalf, you just sit, relax, and see how everything happens without your effort. This is what I'm going to talk of today.
We have questions prepared for your panel. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So first question for you is, what risks do you see in automating social selling activities?
The main one is reputational. If you automate in the wrong place, then people are going to think you're a giant goofus, and they're not going to send you any money and not going to sign your PO. That's the biggest one, is just damaging your credibility if you do it in the wrong place.
Yeah, this is true.
Another risk I'd like to point out, that's one. I agree, absolutely reputational, but also you can be shut down from any platform or banned or restricted, especially if you talk about LinkedIn, if you do it in the wrong way, without diligent care, without observing limits, and abusing the platform, you can lose your account. So this is why I have to be careful in terms of choosing the secure automation tools. Most automation tools, they use LinkedIn API, so they are doing some manipulations with LinkedIn API, which if they want it, they can easily understand but there's a tool injecting something into their code. So there are very few tools that really take technical security seriously.
Okay, and I think that you can waste a lot of money and a lot of time if you start automating something from scratch when you got the idea to make it automatic. So any new tactics you guessed off, you should try it by hand. Only when you are 100% sure that it works, it really drives you the conversion rates and the outcome you want. Only then you should go and scale it up with automation, not before.
Yeah, good point. Thank you, Konstantin, and thank you, Daria. And I wanted to ask Alex. Alex, what do you think? How to avoid this risk of this reputational risk? How to avoid it?
Well, so Konstantin was talking about, it seems like mostly customer support type of activities, which I think there's a really good use case for AI there, because I mean, if I want to contact some supplier, right, and just get like a basic information about a delivery or a product, there's no reason a human needs to be waiting on the line. Like I had a issue with my payment processor for one of my businesses. I had to log onto a chat and wait a while, and like the rep had to like greet me, spend a few minutes handling other chats. It really just should have been trained on their knowledge base and spat out an answer that would be much faster. That's a completely different activity from what we do in social selling, which is primarily in B2B. And so if you are in B2B, you are, I mean, let's just assume on the new business side of B2B, you're not simply managing accounts. But either way, you're trying to help people understand how to do part of their job differently and better. So what could be automated in there? If we tried, what we would do is probably turn to ChatGPT and say, well, generate some comment for me, right? And what does that do? Well, it's trained on the whole internet pre-2021. So you're basically regurgitating a summary of the whole internet distilled down to this topic pre-2021. Yeah, okay, sure, you can enable it to read modern information, but you're still just taking other people's thoughts they posted in blogs, condensing it down and saying, well, here's my thoughts on that. No one's going to change their behavior based on a summary of blogs on the internet. They're going to change their behavior because you got in there and saw a way that, well, like a new way that your company proposes of doing whatever it is, whatever job to be done. And then two, you're tailoring that to them. So if you're coming in as generic, you're just going to be written off by that decision maker pretty much forever because you're coming in as generic. So that's, I mean, for me, it would take me much longer to write a ChatGPT comment than it would to just take 7 seconds to write it out myself. Like, it's actually really fast to do it. I just read the post, understand what it's about, right? Like Nicholas Thickett posts good stuff all the time. I just consume the information and respond quickly. I don't think, sorry, Nick, like 5 minutes about it. I just kind of respond. But that's very fast. So, but what if I commented on his post every day with like, great post, I totally see how this is beneficial. He'd be like, who the are you? Like, get out of here. Stop, get off my feed. You're being annoying, right? Like, that would be super weird. So people do that all the time. They actually spend more time dinking around with stuff than they do just like getting busy work off their plate with selective automation, so they can focus on being human, because evolution has wired us to want to talk to humans. We don't want to talk to bots. Konstantin said this himself. He's like, some people don't want to know they're talking to a bot, because if the bot was good enough, let's say it was good enough, once somebody found out, they'd be pissed, and they'd run as far as they can and block the hell out of that bot. I mean, imagine when you need support and you're talking to a bad chat bot and you realize you can't get an agent. How mad are you? You're really mad, right? You're just like, help me out, agent 000, and you just smash that 0 button. So sorry for the rant, but that's like, we need to, when we're talking about like new business and B2B social selling, you got to be really selective with where you use automation. It's more on the list building side, more on the research side, more on the like, get me the information I need to make a judgment call, because we have not been able to automate that action, and it's questionable whether we will. whether we will ever actually invest enough to design AI that would do that. At that point, AI would be good enough to run civilization, and we don't care. Hopefully, it's a beneficial one. I bow to the AI gods. Until then, it's not here.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I actually was thinking about it, and I realized that, for example, when I call, I don't know, a store or some other organizations, when I start talking with automation tool, it doesn't feel like real talk. Only when a real agent continues talking to me, it feels like real conversations. But
Yeah.
what is before, it feels like it's a preparation to real conversation. It's just
and it just makes you annoyed. They're just like 00 agent, yes,
yeah.
and you're just getting madder as you smash the phone. And I think the same thing applies when I get like the really badly written sort of, you know, all sorts of badly automated outreach where like sometimes I get a message that was automated and it's totally fine because I mean, A, it was better targeted, B, they included something about me that was more relevant, or it was just the right time. And then B, they didn't follow up incessantly. So like there's a room for selective automation in the right way if you target very well. But like you said, if you can't get past it to a real person, that's when problems start happening.
Yeah, thank you. And Daria, you mentioned some technical risks, right? Could you please share maybe how to avoid them? Not technical, a risk of losing your profile. You mentioned that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, first, don't. First of all, resist temptation to do everything as fast as you can, especially for new users who've never used automation. We recommend going like by small fractions of 20 to 30 messages and then increasing slightly. I would also say try to use several LinkedIn accounts. There are people who might be willing to give you an account because they don't use it. It can be set in a very good way when they have control, the owner of the account. They can change password at any time, but you can agree with them that you will be just doing lead generation on their behalf without getting into their inbox or sending something on their behalf. So you could use multiple LinkedIn accounts if you really need a big outreach, but don't do everything from one account. Observe the limits. And replies matter. So a tool usually allows you to see replies to your messages. Whenever you see a reply, you should review them and respond yourself in a timely manner, because you're sending something to people, they respond, and then you forget because you have an automated campaign going on. That's now how it's better to respond to people timely, respect them, and use a safe automation tool. Your real account, your real name, and yeah, I guess this are just be careful and don't overdo the limits.
Thank you. And
one more thing, just something springs to mind. Do some activity besides connection requests, because don't just try to take something from LinkedIn. Spend some time on studying other profiles, comment on posts. Don't only use it for LinkedIn automation. You have to give back to community, to endorse skills, to engage with people, and then this can lead to getting accept an incoming connection requests. This also matters, because if you're only sending out connection requests, you do look like a spammer to LinkedIn. But if LinkedIn sees that people also invite you to their network, it balances off a little bit things. So ensure to get some incoming requests too.
Thank you for the great tip. And for Konstantin, you already gave us a solution what to do, that you need to do something manually first, and then automate. So we'll go to the next question about the effectiveness of automation tools. What do you think about measuring the effectiveness, how to do it? Maybe some of your tips?
for me, it's been banked revenue. I open up my Salesforce account, I run a report that says all revenue sourced from LinkedIn, and that number for just one business crossed $5 million 17 days ago when we sent out our invoices on the month. So for me, that's how I know it's effective, where the account source was either heavily influenced or originally sourced from LinkedIn, social selling, and they paid us a bunch of money, and that stacks up. Sure, like earlier upstream, you got to look at things like, am I getting reach in my posts? Are people actually like commenting good things that they like? Are they responding to my comments? Am I building my, I don't mean connections network, but my actual human network of people that I know? Am I getting invited to stuff? Are people referring us business? There's a bunch of ways to track it upstream. But if you're actually doing social selling and you're not tracking things back to revenue, then something has gone wrong. So it has to be that at the end of the day, and then look for the leading indicators. But I don't think it should be number of connections accepted by outbound. The response rate should be sky high. If you're doing actual social selling properly, it should be extremely high. It should not be a case where you have to worry about that. But that's how we've always measured it. It's just I'm the one of the largest shareholders of all my businesses. For me, there's nobody paying my salary unless it works. So the effectiveness of social selling is because it pays me and all the rest of payroll and all the other bills we got to pay, and hopefully then some.
Yeah, it makes sense. But sometimes it's difficult to track how it's connected to social selling, because sometimes people recommend you to someone else when they read your posts, and so there is a maybe gray area where you cannot just track. But it's connected to social selling activities.
You can get into a whole discussion about reps' usage of CRM, but yeah, sync things to CRM, use RPA or RTool or whatever you want to do to sync interactions to CRM. And then marketers should be doing a review of deal sources. And if it's improperly labeled, just like question everything, right? Look at how a lead submitted a form on your website to contact you. Read it. Don't just listen to attribution. Say, did they call out, I saw somebody on LinkedIn from your team, or so-and-so reached out. Relabel the lead source as LinkedIn. So yeah, I guess some people have an issue with that, but I've been the head of sales. I know what that does entail, and you got to be doing that work. And yeah, automate as much as you can, but what you can't automate, get in there and look at the pipeline that you're creating and listen to the sales call, look at the lead form. You'll be able to
find
tell
all the information there.
So I don't love the excuse of, well, it's hard. It is hard. Do it anyway. That's B2B is hard. So yeah,
definitely. Thank you. And maybe Dario or Konstantin, what do you think about measurement?
Well, there is not much to be said. The effectiveness of social selling is measured by sales, but as you said, Olga, it's sometimes hard to attribute the success to only social selling, because all channels in the company work for your profit. And we, for example, have a content team that produces content, and such work, everything results into building our brand, and then people learn about us and they come to us. Sometimes people use LinkedIn just to get data from there as a data scraper, and then they sell through other platforms, through email, calls. Just maybe watch that your cost is not too much on social selling, and if your bottom line remains good, then you're effective.
Okay, I think that that measuring the effectiveness of automation is quite simple, because if you reached this point, then you already done social selling by hand, and you measured effectiveness of social selling. Then you should measure the effectiveness of automating this process. Like this is just comparing the time of the price tag for human hour, yes, how much does it cost, yes, and for robots hour, how much does it cost when robot does the same. So it's not about the social selling itself, it's just about that robots, automation tools make the time cheaper, yes, for you. and you usually outsource something that you don't like do yourself over and over again.
Yeah, thank you. So I think this is it. We had some more questions, but we don't have a lot of time for them. Sorry. So we heard Alex Boyd, Daria Erina, and Konstantin Artemyev. Thank you so much for insightful presentations and the conversation and answering questions. So thank you. And at the end, we would like to share our agency, the organizers of the event, our website and our YouTube. On YouTube, you will find the recording, because actually it's already here because we are broadcasting it to YouTube too. But we will also cut it to different panels and presentations, so it will be easier for you to watch. And thank you from the whole team, ModumUp team, for being here with us. And thank you to all of our amazing speakers. So thank you so much, and have a good day, everyone, or evening or morning. It depends on your time zone, because there are so many people from different locations with us. Thank you so much, and we are ending the stream now. So have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.